All right. Well, we've been doing this podcast for nearly 2 years, and I have been dying to get this guy on. And finally, he is in front of me. It is none other than the Tongan Kong, Zeke Latu. Zeke, pleasure to talk to you, man. How you doing?
Yo, what's up, brother? How are you?
Doing
Thank you for
what?
having me.
Doing wonderful, and I'm so happy to be talking to you because we've had this fall through a couple of times at this point, and so to finally be able to do this, I mean, every single one of your pro fights. So I've called 8 of your fights. It's like I feel
Yo,
like I already know this guy, but there's
yo,
still plenty to obviously unveil as well.
yes,
Um, I,
sir.
I wanted to kick this off by just talking a little bit about the layoff because it's been the longest layoff of your professional career. You've been away for now. It's not that long, but it's been 4 months compared to
That's
August,
long for me.
but that's very long for you. So what have you been doing during this time?
Just getting my mind ready. Remember my ankle and my foot was kind of messed up pretty bad, and so honestly, just trying to recover, get my foot recovered fully, and so I really had no choice. If my foot was good, I would have been fighting again.
Can you kind of break down a little bit of what happened to your foot? Because I believe, did you break it in that fight in your last outing?
It was so I rolled it the first 15 seconds in the first in the first round. And then yeah, I could see it. I felt it. It started to swell up, and then I started adding calf kicks and with the same rolled ankle, and I think I messed it up big time. My foot was like the size of my hands, like my ankles were like super swollen, and yeah, I think I messed up my muscle. Well, I messed up my muscle fibers. They were super damaged. My tendons were super stretched. Nothing broken, thankfully. It was just my tendons, like my calves. I couldn't even bend my foot. My tendons were super sore. Like I couldn't even. It was like stretched. It was probably like super close. Minor tears are most likely in it, but yeah. You see the picture of my foot?
I did see the picture. Yes, it was pretty swelled up. It kind of looked, and I didn't want to throw this on you at all, but I was like, does this guy have gout? Like, what is this that this guy's got going on?
I wouldn't be surprised. All Tongans and Samoans have it.
That kind of leads into this next thing. Have you had this big of an injury before? Because in the time that I've known you, obviously, you're typically made of steel. So has it been difficult for you to kind of have to recoup with this injury? And again, you've been sidelined for longer than you've been in the past.
Yeah, this one was this definitely made me, yeah, it was definitely different from any other injury I had before. My
Yeah.
foot and my ankle was kind of messed up. I couldn't even walk. I couldn't even use the bathroom, bro. That's how bad it was. And so I'm recovered. Like I can bounce, I can move, I can still do some things in the cage. So
How long did it take you to feel like you could get back to sparring and being in the gyms and stuff like that?
honestly, probably like last month.
Wow.
Last month. Yeah, I couldn't really move. I couldn't move laterally yet. I couldn't bounce as explosive to the right or to the left, mostly to my right. And so, yeah, last month, bro, it's like where I felt comfortable sparring again.
We talked about it right when we started off this whole thing, but I've had the luxury of being able to call all 8 of your professional fights,
That's
and
right,
and
brother.
and they've been so special, and there's a reason why you are a fan favorite. Obviously, the devastating power and the creativity in which you get to those spots. Do you have a favorite performance of yours or a favorite fight throughout your entire professional career?
I would say the one against Mexican Hulk. I think because remember that fight? I was on a two-fight losing streak, and that's the first time mentally where I was like, man, this kind of sucks. I didn't take it like I usually take losses. Is like this one kind of like losing twice. Yeah, that kind of broke me a little bit, and so um, I started training with Joe Bish, taking training, striking, and learning how to use my body the right way, more efficiently in fights. And so I got to display my improvements in with the Mexican Hulk fight, learning how to be composed.
Sure. Sure. No. And those are all things that, you learn as you continue on, and you don't get to those lessons without the speed bumps in between. How difficult was it to kind of get over those hurdles of those 2 losses? Because we've all talked about it in the past, but you've had a lot of really, really close losses. You're by all means 5-3 today, but you could very well be 7-1 as well, Zeke. And so for you, Has it been difficult, and how have you kind of been able to get out of those dark places? And now you've won back to back.
Yeah. It's I just try to take it as a learning thing in the journey of fighting. Not take it too harsh. I don't know. I have really good coaches, a good people around me, good teammates, good friends and family around me that helped me through those dark times. And so, yeah, I don't know. Just having a really strong mindset too. Like you have to be like fighting is not just physical. You have to have a really strong mind. And so, I think I'm just blessed to have a strong mind in those times. And so, I don't
Well,
know.
no, you absolutely do. I also wanted to couple that question with, who do you think has been the toughest guy that you have faced so far? Whether you beat him or you lost to them, who's maybe the hardest hitter or whatever it may be that you've had to face in there?
It would be, dude, it's crazy. The hardest hitter would be Troy Fox. Bro, I have never been hit like that before. I seen two of him. I was like, what? Troy Fox hit like a ton of bricks. And so shout out to that guy, dude.
And so, to give it a little bit of context, that was also your pro debut. And if
Yes,
I'm
sir.
remembering correctly, it had been a little bit of time from your amateur jump to your professional debut. What was
Yep.
it like being in there with someone who was a veteran and a guy who also was coming off of a massive layoff to go in there? And not
Yep.
only that, Zeke, but for the people who, again, don't understand the context of this, you must have landed 30 unanswered shots before
Oh
you
my
finally were able to put them away.
Yeah, that guy made me question my power. I was like, what's going on? I was like, maybe I should drop down to 145 or something. Because, dude, I couldn't drop him. I hit him with my hardest. And it was like, I was swinging from way back here. And, oh, big props to that guy, dude. So,
Do you keep in contact with him at all? I know he's on the East Coast.
well, we're still friends on Facebook. I try to
Okay.
be friends with all my opponents. So,
One of the things that's special about you is we've kind of gotten the chance to see you over the past couple of years grow and develop. You were a guy who, it was like, if he doesn't get it done in the first round, there's no way he's going to win this fight. I wouldn't say that that's necessarily what we were saying, but
nah,
statistically,
that's
that's what
true.
it was saying. And so you're making me laugh over here, man. But have you seen yourself grow? And when you look back at maybe a Troy Fox fight, do you go, man, I have really developed as a fighter over the past 2.5 years?
Oh, yeah, for sure, bro. Yeah, my first fight to how I fight now is way different. I wouldn't recognize the guy that was in my first fight. So I'm understanding the way the body, how the body works, and how my body works. And so yeah, I've changed. I feel like I've changed a lot. Shout out to my coaches, my teammates, all the coaches from strength and conditioning. Paul.
No.
Paul's helped me a lot in that, and so just learning how to flush out the body with my lactic acid, stuff like that. I didn't think it was that deep into fighting. I thought it was just like let's just throw hands in the middle. So yeah.
This might be a silly question, but how conscious are you of that now in your fights? When, say, you're maybe 2.5 rounds in, you can't put this guy out, and you go, hey, I might have to see stools and go into minutes 5 through 10.
Oh no, I understand that very well now. I remember in all my losses, it's like it's all in or nothing. Now it's like, all right, this might go to the second round or third. Time to pull back on the gas a little bit, find your breathing, stuff like that. So stuff I should have been learning in the amateur side.
Zeke, you've been training all over the state for the past couple of months. I mean, obviously, Fight City was the home for quite some time. I know you've now made the full time move over to Rise Boxing, and then obviously getting working with Joe Bish as well as plenty of others. For you, outside of maybe Kent Mafileo, who I know you share the room with, do you have a favorite training partner within the state that you like to go with?
Man, lately he has been the boys over there at Mono Grappling. Sonny has been helping me in my last two, three fights. Um, actually, just all the big boys. Kent, I got my cousin, Nella. Well, it's just like if you're a big body, that's all we need, man. So, all the big guys I've been training with over there at Brad Martinez's. I got Skyler, but my main one would be Sonny up there at Mono Grappling. So.
I've always wanted to ask you this because as a broadcaster, I get the chance to share the seat with him sometimes. Eric Iman, how was it training with him? I know that was a little bit more of last year's news, but what was it like
Yes.
being able to train with a guy like Eric?
You don't realize how huge that guy is until you actually train with him. That's a real heavyweight. I was like, geez. Yeah, you could tell he has a bunch of experience on him. He's been doing this for a long time, so it was actually pretty cool to train with him. I have a picture with him in the back after our fight, and I'm just like, I don't know if I should post this because I look like a little kid next to him. He's huge, bro. He's huge.
Zeke, you always talk about becoming a UFC heavyweight, becoming a UFC fighter. I see you constantly posting stuff like that. And what does that road to the UFC look like for you?
Ah, it looks very promising. It looks honestly, I mean, I know I'm destined to be in there. I think that's like me posting it a lot. It's just been affirming all those feelings I've had. So the road to it, I would say it's gonna be bumpy, but it's inevitable. I am definitely touching the mats in the UFC.
When when did the UFC become an option for you? Like when did you start to go, I can really do this?
The day I my first pro debut, it was because I don't think I feel like if you're gonna do something like combat sports, you should go for the top. Like, yeah, people do it for fun. Some people do it for fun, but in my opinion, I think if you're gonna fight, especially on a pro level, you should go to the very top. One championship, UFC, like all those big promotions, Bellator, PFL. Why not? Why not? So that's why I was like, all right, I'm going to the UFC. I made up my mind.
Have you always wanted to be the best at whatever you did, whether that was, a life before fighting? Were you always trying to be the best you possibly could be at anything you did?
I would say I try to do the hard things and just try to give everything I got. That's about, I wouldn't say the best. I would just say, um, I mean, yeah, the best I've got, everything I've got into whatever it was. And I did a lot of hard stuff. And so I don't know why I did that. I think there's something wrong in my brain or something, but I don't know.
I wanted to ask you as well. Did you play football growing up?
I did. I tried it. I didn't like it.
What did you not like about it? Because obviously your brother has gotten to pretty high heights in that sport.
I know my brother's a beast. Shout out to my brother David. He's a
I like playing with
beast.
him on NCAA, by the way.
Oh, that's right.
He
Heck, his
sacks
overall is
everybody,
what,
dude.
99?
Yeah.
No, it's just because I was when the big guys go head up with the smaller, you know the saying how to take out a Samoan or a Tongan, you get a bigger Samoan or Tongan. And so I always got pancaked by the big Polynesians. And so I was like, man, if this was a fight, you wouldn't pancake me like this. And so that's the only reason I didn't like getting hit by all the big boys.
You talked a little bit about your culture and things like that. How much does that mean to you carrying on obviously your nickname, the Tongan Kong? How much does that stuff mean to you when you're walking out and representing those people?
Oh, it means everything to me because we only make up like Tongans in general, we make up like 0.00 something percent of the world population. We're even smaller in the US. And so when I walk out, I try to carry the whole country on my back, even though I'm from America, you know what I mean? But my parents are Tongan. I have Tongan blood. And so I want to represent my ancestors that way through how better way to represent my ancestors but through combat. And so that's why I do it. So
I feel like there's so many people who endorse and love you as well in that world. Obviously, your family, but that community really backs you. I mean, when we post something about you, it gets the highest numbers of anybody else. And that's because there's so many people who love Zeke Latu. Have you always felt that as a fighter, or is that something that has kind of happened over the course of the couple of years?
It's kind of happened over the course of the years. I'm not used to it, bro. I'm used to like 400 followers and like just my family and my best friends on Instagram and stuff. And so I think that's a blessing. I think that's kind of like my sign that I'm on the right path into the UFC.
When did you start
So
seeing kind of a gain in popularity? Because I didn't know that about you. That kind of came naturally through just, your fighting style, I guess I should say.
Yeah, my first pro debut.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Very interesting.
yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of support. I wouldn't say support. I guess a lot of people didn't know I was fighting. Well, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
We chatted about this a little bit in person, but that Tony Ferguson interaction that you had last year,
Yeah.
that was really, really interesting and very cool. Was there anything about that one, obviously you took away, but was there anything that inspired you with meeting someone like, none other than El Kukui?
He was man, he was just very human like me. Like a lot of people like including myself see UFC fighters or top level fighters like some unstoppable force or like they're just another I don't know, some celebrity style. It's hard to explain. But when I met Tony, he reminded me of me. He was getting ready for a fight. He was going through the same emotions like he was like I explained to him what I was going through. Um, it kind of felt like I was speaking to another person just and over there in the gym or in the mats. So it was pretty cool.
And,
He
and,
was super humble.
and essentially what he told you was to just keep working hard and stay on the right path. Is that fair to say?
Yep, and he said conditioning. He said you Polynesians, and he thought I was Samoan. He was like, you Samoans don't have a lot of conditioning, so go condition. And I was like, all right, say less.
Was that at where was that? Because obviously Tony isn't from out here.
Yeah, it was at EOS over there in Bountiful.
That's so random. Was there a reason that he was training out here? Was he trying to get elevation training or what was it?
He was just getting ready for a fight, and everyone is like looking through the EOS window, and I was like, dude, what's everyone doing? It's like, oh, dude, that's Tony Ferguson. They like basically took over the whole basketball court over there at EOS in Bountiful. So
So how did you get in there?
I just walked in. I was like, excuse me. I just walked right in. You know?
Zeke, January 24th, live from the Masonic Temple. This is going to be your first fight outside of the Maverick Center. Has that been in your psyche at all? Or how excited are you? Because you've been at the last two shows at the Masonic Temple, obviously working.
Yeah, it was I'm excited, bro. I'm excited to see how close everyone's gonna be to the cage. They can finally hear me talking. A lot of people don't hear me talking in there. Only probably you guys.
We hear you a little bit. We hear you chirp. I'll never forget when I can't remember if it was an eye poke or a low blow, but we didn't have the replay for it. You kept telling us to pull up the replay, and I was like, Zeke, we don't have the replay. Like, but
I was getting all hyped. I was like, I know I hit. I know I didn't hit you there, you liar.
but you've obviously been there for the last couple of shows. Is it the closed quarters, the closer environment with everybody stacked on top? Does that give you some sort of an energy and a
Yeah, you can
wind
just
of
feel the
excitement?
energy. It's exciting, bro. You can feel the energy. I feel like, man, it's just insane when everyone roars at the same time too. I feel like you can feel the floor shake. So like, that's insane. The one when Talon fought, when he dropped that one guy, the guy he fought, man, the whole place just lit up. So I can't wait to do that.
I'm sure there will be a similar sentiment if something like that is to happen on January 24th. Is your security team going to be helping us out that night? I actually have no idea. Are they going to be there or?
Nope, that's a negative.
Okay. Okay.
They're going to be watching the fights instead of doing their jobs, and so
That's why I wanted to ask. I was
yeah,
curious of how good security is going to be, but no. What is the name of your security company again? I apologize.
solid, solid security.
So no solid security on
Yeah,
January 24th, but we certainly hope to see you guys in the future. Zeke, it's such a pleasure to talk to you a little bit, get to know you a little bit more. Are there any family, friends, obviously sponsors that you want to say thank you to? Obviously, you're rocking the Rockwell shirt as we speak.
Rockwell, baby. Hey, big shout out to Rockwell. I want to do a shout out to my to all my teammates, all the guys that's been working with me on this camp over there at Mono Grappling, head coach over there, Sonny, Docky, Marcos, just all the teams. Rad Martinez at 4-7. We've been going over there in the mornings, me and my cousin. So that's pretty dope. Yeah, Rad knows what he's doing. He's a little demon right there, man. Shout out to all my sponsors. This is way too much, bro. I didn't prepare for this. My
No
bad.
worries. No worries at all. Tickets on sale right now at
Yes, sir.
fiercefightingchampionship.com. The return of the Tongan Kong, the longest time it's been since we've been able to see him since he turned pro. Cannot wait for it on January 24th. Zeke, thank you so much, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate you.
Blake. Thank you, brother. I can't wait.